Greetings, gamers. Hoser here for Hoser House Rules. Welcome back to the Hoser House. But seems to me that it's not about the Hoser House. It's about the house rules. And we've been all over the place. I've been all over the place with the rules. So I want to take this time. We haven't been on for about over a month and a half, so a lot of catching up to do. I want to start with Napoleonics. We'll be back to Napoleonics. We did the Viking campaign last time. The house rules. Okay, basically, it's DBA with a lot of modifications. Okay, we've gotten rid of cores with 6 units each. We had some epic battles, which were awesome, but took 2 hours. Okay, so it's gonna be more DBA-ish. Cores are gone. It's just an army. An army in this campaign, an army of 12 stands, which is your basic DBA army, is going to be representing 50,000 men. So it is a huge campaign because there are a lot of armies out there. The Allies started with 800,000 men. That's 16 armies. Now, some have been dealt with already. The Prussians and the English are back home. The Russians have been checked, but have reinforcements coming. And Napoleon has launched his preemptive strike into Bavaria, therefore making all the Germans angry at him. But that's okay because a third of Schwarzenberg's Bavarian army are Confederation of the Rhine German troops anyway. So we're doing the right wing today. We did the left wing, and the right wing is going to look different because it's going to be more DBA, like basically 12 units per army. Let me just go over some of the campaign and tactical rules that we use. Again, we are continuing Napoleon's last war, which is the invasion of France after the 100 days by about 800,000 allies. Napoleon starting with maybe 200 plus 1,000 troops. Again, the scale is 50,000 men is an army of 12 units, like a DBA army. But they will be largely conforming to the snuffs, pipes, and bayonets Humberside army list. You could just Google snuffs, pipes, and bayonets, and you get army lists for the whole horse and musket period. The basic currency is reserve points. You can call them building points, whatever you want. And they're roughly equal to a man. So if a country has 50,000 reserve points, that means they can build an army of 50,000 men, which is 12 stands. But they also need to buy baggage for the armies. Every time an army moves, it's going to use up a baggage. And that's an army of 50,000 or less. So it comes out to units being worth about 4,000 replacement points, reserve points, building points per unit if you want to replace one. Otherwise, baggage is 1,000 points each. As per DBA, we're fighting the battles on a 2x2 foot mat board. And the maximum is going to be 16 units per side. Normally, you would just have 12 against 12. That's going to vary sometimes. Sometimes some armies will be weaker or stronger, but you cannot field more than 16 units. So in today's case, for example, the Schwarzenberg has 100,000 men. He put 50,000 to the left wing and lost there. He has 50,000 to the right wing. That's 12 units. The French have about the same, so 12 units on each wing, plus the guard, which is 25,000 men, so that's 6 units. But I cannot field 18 units. I'm going to field 16 units. That's the maximum, so some of the guard or somebody's going to get left out. We select the time of day, both here and for Vikings, by rolling a d6, subtracting it from 12 hours, and that's how many hours you get left. But at 15 minutes a turn, you're guaranteed 6 times 4 is 24 turns. So that's plenty for any battle. You can fight on into darkness. Daylight is 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. You can fight till 10 p.m., but visibility at night is 4 inches. So basically, we determine the forces available, and we roll for scouting. And you get a +1 for scouting for each light cavalry unit or cavalry unit that you have. I'm going to get into the troops in a second. The loser sets up terrain, the winner sets up terrain. We're going to demonstrate that today. Then the loser sets up first, then the winner sets up. And as per DBA, the loser who set up first can switch 2 pairs of units in order to get better lineups against quick kills and such, if they want to. We're doing attrition, so it's not just quick kills. Veteran units can take 3 hit points, elite and guard units can take 4 hit points, and militia units can take 2 hit points. So every time you lose, whether it's shot or melee, you take a hit point. Units do not recoil from fire. They only recoil from melee. And there's the big X factor. There's a lot. Right now there are 10 nations on the board. It was 9-1 against France. France has conquered the Low Countries, Dutch Belgium, and they may be on the verge of conquering Switzerland. But the big X factor is the Ottoman Empire, because on every month we do turns that are 1 week, and then we do production every month. And every month there's a 1/3 chance, in the roll of 5 or a 6, that the Ottoman Empire will attack a randomly selected nation. So that's a big X factor in the campaign. Army breakpoint is still at half units, but there is, which may trigger a morale check or not. And if they fail a morale check badly, it may result in a surrender, as it did for the British and Prussian forces at Waterloo. After a battle, there is pursuit. Heavy cavalry will kill an extra unit on a 6, light cavalry on a 5 or 6, and then there's recovery. You get a certain percentage of your units back. You get more units back if you won than if you lost, and we just do that off camera and figure out how many units are left per army. But we don't really have to keep track of units anymore, with a couple of exceptions for the French cavalry corps and guard, because you're just going by the snuffs, pipes, and bayonets army list. And I finally got some casualty caps, so no more green ugly dice behind units. Got these from War Games Accessories. You can Google wargamesaccessories.com. They're pretty cheap, and they're 50 per bag. I got 100. We'll be using those to keep track of hit points. And there is you can capture equipment after a battle, and that gives you some replacement points. Finally, I just want to mention troop types. The rules are just this and 1/3 of this page. The rest are army lists for all the nations. So really, like, less than 2 pages of rules. We know a lot of the tactical factors and arc of fire is 45 degrees, for example, and all that stuff. In keeping with 1 hour war games, I wanted to keep as few types of units as possible. In 1 hour war games, they go from ancients to World War II, and every period has only 4 types of units. I have 6 types of units for Napoleonics. We're going to shooters for infantry, like DBA, bowmen, or hordes of the things. I'm very influenced by hordes of the things. So there's shooters. There's 3 against infantry, 4 against cavalry. Quick killing knights. I buffed up Seloy. They are now skirmisher light infantry. They have a combat factor of 4 against infantry and 2 against cavalry, and they have slightly longer shooting range, where shooters shoot 4 inches, light infantry shoot 5 inches, and of course are good in woods and are hard to kill. Usually they will flee instead of being destroyed. Okay, so you got shooters, you got light infantry, you got cavalry and knights. Cavalry says cavalry, command factor 3. Knights are 3s, 4s versus mounted. Knights quick kill any infantry, especially shooters. And then just 2 types of artillery. We could have just gone with 1, regular artillery, range of 10, command factor of 3. But the French are a special case. The vast majority of their guns are 6-pounders, not heavy like 9, 10, 12-pounders. So they have a little bit less range, 8 inches, but they move faster, 4 inches instead of 3. And they can pivot and shoot, whereas heavy artillery for most nations cannot. So shooters, light infantry, cavalry, knights, heavy artillery for most people, field artillery, also known as French artillery for the French, and of course the French artillery are elite. All generals are +1, start at +1 because you're going to be rolling for movement points, and it really sucks to roll a 1 when you're doing movement points with 12 units. So all generals are +1, French generals are +2, French field marshals are add a +2 to the general in charge, and Napoleon adds a 3. And that's pretty much it. Please, we would love some comments and questions as to how we play and what we're doing. So it'd be great to see some comments and likes and questions on the videos. So now we're going to take it to the table where we'll demonstrate how we do the setup for the right wing, or basically any Napoleonic battle. All right, let's take it to the table. Okay, welcome back. We're going to demonstrate how we set up for a battle. So basically we have 2-foot by 2-foot board. It's a felt mat on a cardboard backing so we can scoot it around the table. For Napoleonics, you have your standard roads going down the middle of the board. And we're going to demonstrate how we set up. First, we determine troops available, which we have done. The Austrians have their 12-unit army, and I have my 12-unit army plus 4 units from the Guard. So the first thing we do is roll for scouting, adding 1 for each cavalry unit, light cavalry unit that you have. I have 1 light cavalry unit and Tim has 2. So we're going to roll for scouting.
I have a 4.
And I have a 3. So I lose the scouting. I set up first. The next thing we do is we roll for terrain. 1, 2, 3 is a hill. 4, 5 is a woods. And 6 is a river or built-up area. Randomly determine which one. And you cannot have more than 2 woods or 2 built-up areas on your side. Tim, as a defender, will also get an extra 3rd piece of terrain for defending somewhere along some friendly village, although it's not a major village. So the first thing I do is I roll for 2 pieces of terrain. Okay, I got a 6, which is going to be. You want to skip rivers or?
Yeah, we'll skip rivers.
Yeah, so rivers are kind of a hassle. So this is a built-up area. Just a little over 1 inch by 2 inch. Okay, and I'm going to place that. And you can place the terrain anywhere on your half of the board, but no closer than 3 inches to the edges. So I'm going to put this built-up area right here in the center, and I rolled another 6. I cannot get another river or built-up area, so that automatically becomes a hill. And I am going to place the hill here, and that's in my half, not closer to 3 inches to the edge. And now Tim is going to roll for 2 pieces of terrain.
First piece is a 3. So
That's a hill. And for this, we're just using some flooring tile that has a nice color to it with like a ridge line across of it.
So we'll put that right there.
And for the second piece of terrain,
woods.
he gets woods. Okay, so we just use felt for that. And then on top of that, he gets a built-up area for defending. And that's basically simple terrain setup. It's not the complicated DBA setup that we that you would use for DBA, where you have to roll for see which side you get and stuff like that. So okay, then I set up first. Okay, so I have my army over here, and it's DBA, so you want your units touching, so they are in a group. I could set up to 8 inches away. We have the 2x2 boards divided into 8-inch boxes. So I can set up to 8 inches in, or closer to 3 inches to the sides. But if I have a built-up area, I could set up a unit there on my half, which I am going to do. And then I am going to set up artillery here. This is the regular army artillery. No, I'm going to set up the artillery here. They're not over the ridge line yet because I'm going to set up some line. I like the standard on the right side, 8 inches in. I'm going to set up my second grenadier here. This is my light infantry, and they are going to aim for those woods. And elite heavy cavalry. I kind of want to keep them in reserves. Regular heavy cavalry, which are knights, and elite light cavalry. Here. The army is commanded by Van Dam. Only a 6-inch command radius, so you want to keep them close to your units. Then, as a separate army, I have 4 units of guard, which are going to set up on the left flank. I'm using 12-pounder guns to represent the guard, even though they would normally be 6-pounders, just to tell the difference. Guard infantry. And I get a second general for a separate detachment. So this is Friant, in charge of just these 4 units. This is Van Dam, in charge of these 12 units. And on top of that, I get Grouchy on the right wing, who's going to be supporting with a +2, and Napoleon, which is going to be supporting with a +3, 2 movement points. And Tim can go ahead and set up.
All right, I will throw my cannons behind the ridge line. I will throw my militia into the built-up area. So infantry here to protect the cannon flanks. And then more infantry to protect the other side.
Yeah, that's fine. And some scummy landware. 2 light cavalry there, I believe.
Yep, 2 light cavalry here.
And they can use road movement. It's plus 2 inches.
2 heavy back here. We'll have my...
And we have a whole host of generals that we could pick from the Austrian army. I think Bellegarde is commanding today, but Hiller is one of them. I think. How do you like that, Mike?
Oh, I like that.
General
Wow.
Hiller, yeah.
He's a good one.
Yeah, so Bellegarde is in charge, and then Schwarzenberg, Prince Schwarzenberg, with 2 figures per stand, is the army commander, and he'll be supporting both. These are plus 1. All of mine are plus 2, except for Napoleon's plus 3. And that is how we set up a battle. Now I get to trade 2 units, 2 pairs of units if I want, to get a better setup. And I think I'll just leave it the way it is. So that is how we set up a battle. We will come back with the right wing battle. We're going to stop here and just post the rules explanation and the setup explanation, and then we will do another post for the right wing battle. So see you at the next battle.